This month, I'm challenging myself to doing my makeup every day. I feel like recently I've fallen out of the habit of sitting down and doing my makeup just for fun, for relaxing, for creative expression. And I'm hoping that challenging myself to do it every day for this month will kind of just get me back into that routine. I've been feeling really overwhelmed recently with my makeup collection. I feel like I'm losing track of which products I do and don't love, and I feel like even the products that I know I do love are just sitting there unused. This project's not that serious in the way that, like, if there's a day or a couple days where I'm physically or mentally not up to doing my makeup, that's okay, but the idea is that as much as I'm able to, I will sit down and do my makeup and I will check in with you, let you know what I have going on. So yeah, that's the brief. Let's get right into it. Today's April 1st, and I'm wearing the Glaminatrix Rich Romantic palette because I used it yesterday and it was sitting out. I put Admire, this pinky one, in my crease. It is quite pink, but it's a good depth for me to use as a crease shade. And I used Magnetic, this one here, all over my lid, which didn't have a finger dip in it until I used it today, so this is my first time using it. I feel like this is one of those shades that I see in the pan and I think it's going to be deeper than it ends up being because of, like, you know, the shimmers, other than this brown here, it is like considerably deeper than those, but it's not that intense on the eye. It's adequately sparkly. I feel like this is going to be a shifty shade also. Like, I'm seeing some minor shifts now, but I wonder if when I look at it in, like, sunlight, if I'm going to see major shifts. For my lower lash line, I use the same pink and a little bit of this one, Lover, and then Romantic, which is this iridescent. I use it in my inner corner, like, every time I use this palette, and today is no different. I used a berry colored mascara. I have this CoverGirl mascara that I like in concept, but it doesn't give me that much oomph, and I feel like the lack of oomph combined with the lighter color, like lighter compared to black, doesn't really have much of an effect. So I want to keep playing with this. Like, I haven't used it that much because the last time I used it, I was like, oh yeah, this doesn't do much, but I wonder if there is a way to use it that would have a little bit more drama, like if I layered it, because you can see the reddishness of it, and I like that. I just want a little bit more lash. My blush is this Essence Pure Nude in Pretty Peach. For my lips, I use this Kylie Cosmetics liner in Forever and Always, which is a little bit warmer than I wish it was, but it works fine. And this lipstick, which I would have totally forgotten I had it. I mean, I did totally forget I had it. This has a decent amount of pigment, so I feel like you're barely even seeing the liner. This is Rosy Brown. It's the Maracuja Juicy lipstick. Really nice formula, like really nice, easy to apply, kind of matte, but like a satin matte lipstick formula. I'm digging it. So yeah, that's the look for today. Today's April 2nd, and my makeup's been on for several hours because I did it before a work event this morning, but if it was a normal work day and I did my makeup, like, I'd still be at work right now, my makeup would still be on, so I feel like it's still worth sharing, and I think overall, it looks good enough. I pulled out what's left of this singles neutral palette that I made a couple months ago. I used Luxie Sweetheart as the matte in my crease, and I used a really sheer layer of Glaminatrix Skink as the shimmer on my eyes. I think it looks really pretty. You could see a little bit of creasing, but again, it's been like 6 hours, I think, since I put this on this morning. This is a shadow that I love, and I feel like it can, like, usually I apply it as like a full-blown metallic, but for work I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle, and I pretty much like used one swipe of it, which I would normally use in one eye. I used that on both. I used Luxie Vanilla Skies, which is just like a bone-colored matte, as my inner corner shade because I feel sometimes when I'm doing my makeup for work, it feels like a little bit too much to have an inner corner shimmer for the office, but I feel like a matte does kind of like brighten up my eye look sufficiently. And for my lips, I used this Kosas Hot Liner in the shade Infinite and the ColourPop Just a Tint in Cherry Picking, and I really like the combo, very like light and comfy. This angle and this bun don't really work, but we're just gonna push through it. Today is still April 2nd. I'm doing my makeup for the evening. For my crease shade, I used leggings from the Glaminatrix Barely Basic palette because I wanted something a little bit more neutral than other options I had accessible to me for the crease because I didn't know what I wanted to put on my lid. I could have done something more pink because I ended up using Palace from Cleona, which is a favorite that I feel like I haven't used in a long time, but it's so pretty, so shifty, sparkly, beautiful. I love it. I used an old depotted shade for my lower lash line, and then OOTD from the Barely Basic palette for my inner corner because I wanted something pink to tie in with the lid, of course. Cheeky from Merit on my cheeks. And then my lips are Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude, and then Runway Royalty, also from Charlotte Tilbury, on top of that. And that's the look. Today's April 3rd, and I'm wearing this depotted Tarte shadow in my crease. The main attraction, of course, is Electrum Shake Your Pom-Poms, which I have all over my lid, and it's really pretty. I don't know if I ever use the shade more than like once or maybe twice, but I really like it because I love Cleona Mural, and this to me looks like an amped up, super sparkly version of Mural. It has like the lime green base and then intense orange sparkles, but also this shift to like yellow. There's also like a lime green in there. So pretty. I don't love the way that I completed the look. I used a little bit more of the Tarte shadow for my lower lash line, and then I amped it up with Cosmic Blaze from Terra Moons. This is a shade that I've historically enjoyed using for my lower lash line, so this just might not be the look, or maybe I'm just not in the mood for it. It's okay. And then for my inner corner, I used Terra Moon's Phoenix, which is another shade that I historically love, but I don't really love it in this look, but that's okay. Sometimes it's just like that. And then on my lips, I'm using my Milani lip liner in Spice and this Physicians Formula Velvet lip color in Pillow Talk, because other brands can do Pillow Talk too, apparently. Today's April 4th, and I wanted to do something more colorful today. I feel like I do wear color regularly, but when I don't have a colorful crease, I feel like it's not a colorful look, you know? So today I wanted to do something distinctly colorful. So I used my ABH Norvina 3 palette. This is a palette I think of so fondly, and I don't use it that often, but I want to change that. I always want to change that. So in this, I used this green, and this green. I use those in my crease and to kind of like build up a little bit of a halo. And they're such beautiful shadows. They're pigmented, they don't have fallout, they're so like electric. I love that. I also used all three for my lower lash line. On my lid for the center of the halo, I used Days from Cleona, which looks so sparkly and pretty in the look. And then for my inner corner, I used Luxe, which is actually an iridescent from Cleona that I don't really like, and I've figured I'll probably end up decluttering it, but I feel like it made a really bright yellow green that's perfect for this look. So no complaints with the performance there. On my lips, I used this Skin by Kim liner. This is Nude 10, which is a little bit like a pinky nude, a mauvey nude. I wanted something a little bit pinky leaning to counteract using this KVD gloss. This is in Camellia. It's a really pretty gloss. It smells like butterscotch. It must be getting a little bit old in my collection now, so I saw it sitting there and I was like, I haven't used that in forever, I should use it today. I feel like these two products look awesome together. I feel like it's the perfect balance for the eye look. I'm really digging this look today. Today is April 5th. I'm wearing my Kylie Mattes palette in my crease. All over my lid, the star of the show is Glory from Fantasy Cosmetica. I purchased this as a single, but I know it's also available, I think, in the Fighter palette. So it's all over my lid, gorgeous wet look shimmer, and I also put it in my inner corner. And then on my lips, I just have the same combo as yesterday, the Skin Nude 10 liner with this KVD Camilla, something like that, gloss. It's still April 5th. I redid my makeup. I used this Depotted Tarte shadow as my crease shade, and then all over my lid, I used Orchard from Cleona, which is a shade that I loved when I first got it, but I haven't used it in a while, but yeah, still love it. I wanted to tie it in with some other greens, so I used Meadow from Sydney Grace and Gremlin from Luxie for my lower lash line, and Tara Moon's Phoenix for my inner corner. On my lips, I have the Natasha Denona I Need a Rose lip crayon in the shade Cala, and the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Sticks in Fenty Glow. I also layered that burgundy mascara over my brown Essence Lash Princess, and I think this worked out really well. Today I'm wearing my Kylie Mattes palette in my crease. Again, of course. On my eyes, I have Tara Moon's Oppie, which is a favorite of mine. In my inner corner is Luxie Cookie Dough. Lower lash line is just the Kylie Mattes again. And then on my lips, I'm wearing my Milani lip liner in All Natural with this ColourPop Twilight lip oil in Bells. I still love this thing. Today is April 8th. I did my makeup maybe like an hour ago and then I ran some errands, but I think it looks really good. Not a crease in sight. I used, again, what's left of my neutrals palette that I made a couple months ago. From Pretties for Your Face, I used Wibelette in the crease. And then I used Wilted a little bit lower in the crease as well as like on the outer and a little bit on the inner. I deepened up the outer with Fried Oreo from Pretties for Your Face. And then all over the lid is Lunar Lavender from Tara Moon's. And that's kind of like the star of the show, but the coolness ties in nicely with like the coolness of those Pretties for Your Face shades. On my lower lash line, I just used a little bit more of Wibelette, and I used Luxie Cookie Dough on my inner corner, and I used Vanilla Skies from Luxie to like tidy under my brow. On my lips, I put on a couple of different things. I used Milani Easy Liner in Most Natural, and I used some of this Tarte lip cream in Soft Rose, and this Physicians Formula Butter Tinted Lip Conditioner. It's a gloss in the shade Beach Bronze. And that's the look. Today is April 9th, and for my eyes, I used Studio. This is the Solo Shadow from Merit. I used this all over my eye, all over the top of the eye, and the lower lash line, and then I topped that with Celestial, which is an iridescent from Shine by SD in collaboration with Glam Smitty. I love this as an inner corner shade, and it also worked really nicely topping that like light tan shade. And I also put this on my inner corner without a base under it. For my lips, I use this Urban Decay lip pencil in the shade Peyote. It's kind of like a shimmery lip liner that I had lost in my purse for a while and was recently reunited with. And then I topped that with this Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. This is Kiss of Mystery with the little snake packaging. It's more of a berry shade than I wish it was, but I feel like it is a nice departure from other lipsticks that I have in my collection. Today's April 11th, and I'm using this curated palette that I curated a long time ago and I just rediscovered in my messy, unorganized single shadows. I have Luxie Everything in my crease, which is a favorite. I've actually been missing that in my not being able to find it. I have Cleona Royal Pear all over my eyes. Really cute. I have Moonlit Tryst from Shine by SD and Glam Smitty in my inner corner. And Profane from Fantasy Cosmetica is the green on my lower lash line. I really love how that ties in with Royal Pear. I wanted to use this LH Cosmetics lip liner again. This is the shade Rosy Nougat, and it is quite light. I used it with this Refi gloss in Rosewood because I felt like this made me look a little dead and I wanted this to bring a little bit of pinkiness to it. Overall, I feel like the effect is like one step more pigmented than like a 2000s concealer lip, and I'm not positive how I feel about it. Today's April 12th. I'm wearing the same green look as the other day using Norvina Volume 3, Cleona Dazed on the lid, Luxe on the inner corner. I switch it up for the lips. I'm wearing Milani liner in 03 Nude and this ColourPop Just a Tint in Gimme S'mores. Gimme S'more. It's April 13th. I'm wearing a bunch of Luxie mattes and Glaminatrix Basil. This one here, all over the lid for like pretty wet look shine. In the inner corner, I have Terra Moon's Red Giant, and on my lips I have Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk and the Glossier Ultra Lip in Pony. I figured I would play with some warm colors today because I feel like I've been doing a lot of cool colors recently. I've been loving the cool color looks. I love this one less, but it's still a good look. I used Luxie Everything and Glaminatrix Fate in the crease, and then I used Cliona Cinder for the inner and outer parts of the halo eye, and Divina Electra for the inside parts of it. I do like how shiny it is, but in a lot of lights, Electra looks very gold, and I wasn't going for like gold in the center. I was hoping for more of like a monochromatic look like I get here when it's not shifting. But it's fine, it's sparkly, it's pretty. On my inner corner, I'm using Treasure from Shine by SD for a little teal pop. And on my lips, I'm using Milani Spice. I think I already used this, but I think I have two of these because I've been putting away my lipsticks every time I use one in a video. So I used another Milani Spice and Fantasy Cosmetica Hidden Lipstick, which I really like. I like the lip look. I like the feel of the look. Yeah. Today's April 15th. Part of me is like, I can't believe we're halfway through the month. And part of me is like, oh my god, we're already halfway through the month. For my look today, I started with this Half Magic little like liquid eyeshadow. This is the shade Sky Juice. I feel like I've never seen that before in my life. But it's this really pretty periwinkle shade. I put it on, I used a brush to like give me the wing shape, but it felt very like gooey on my eye. So I ended up topping it with 8-Bit from the Sugar Pill Fun Size palette, which is essentially like the exact color. I like the look, but it still does feel kind of like stiff. I wanted to do my Moonlit Tryst inner corner, but I don't know where it is. So I used my Fairly Basic palette from Glaminatrix, and I used the shade DIY on my inner corner, which is pretty bright, but it works. I just used a bronzer on my lower lash line. And then for my lips, I used the Shine by SD lip gloss that I had used in a recent video, but I paired it with the wrong lip liner this time, so I wanted to pair it with something cool tone today. This is the shade Espresso Shine, and I paired it with the Skin by Kim Nude 06 liner, and it is very cool. I almost wish I went with something more neutral because the eye look is a little bit like more unusual for me. So now like both are kind of unusual, but the more I have it on, it's growing on me. I feel like it's kind of cool. Today's April 16th, and for my shimmer, I'm using Luxie Adonis, which I was curious to like test out again for the first time in a while. It is creasing already though, and I've had this on for like just the amount of time that it's taken to do my other makeup after doing my eyes. So that's not really a good sign. It has a nice shine to it though. I will say that, and I also have it in my inner corner, so I like the versatility, but I don't like the creasing. For my mattes, I'm wearing some Luxie mattes, and then on my lips, Kylie Cosmetics lip liner in Candy K, and also, pretty old at this point, this Juvia's Place lipstick in Me, but it does make a nice combination. Today's April 18th. I'm wearing a couple Luxie mattes. All over my lid is Terra Moon's Venus, which I remember loving, haven't worn in a while, and it looks so beautiful and shifty. I love it. On my inner corner, I have Luxie Cookie Dough because that was what was convenient, and then I did my makeup just so I could go eat. So for my lips, I kept it simple. I just smudged a little bit of my Milani Spice lip liner on, and that's the look. Today is April 18th, and I'm wearing in my crease a light layer of Glaminatrix Cherry Cocoa, which is a nice shade, but I do have to be careful to like just pick up the right amount for my crease. All over my lid, I used Wall of Ivy from Cliona because I wanted to see how I feel about it. And then for my inner corner, I wanted to see if I like Luxe in other combinations or if it just works really well with that one green look. So I used that today. And I'm still leaning towards it just works well with that one green look. I think this looks a little bit more gold than I would have chosen for this inner corner. On my lower lash line, I used these two mattes from the Norvina Volume 3. And I didn't really blend them together. I just kind of like popped the burgundy over the edge of the green. And I feel like it looks so cool that both colors are visible, but I feel like it plays well together. I really like the quality of these mattes, and I'm happy that I've been playing around this palette more this month. Also, I'm using a new bronzer. I don't know what I think. For my lips, I used Milani Spice because it was sitting out, and this Lime Crime Wet Cherry lip gloss in Bitter Cherry. And that's the look. Today's April 19th, and I'm wearing a couple Luxie mattes. I'm wearing Everything and Sultry. The main attraction on my lid is Cleona Entropy, which is a really pretty color. Very chunky by Cleona standards, but still very pretty. My inner corner is Shine by SD and Glam Smitty Midnight Tryst. On my lips, I'm wearing Milani Spice liner, as well as the LH Cosmetics Pink Opal Balm. Today is April 20th. It's Easter. I'm wearing the same exact mattes as yesterday, Luxie Everything and Sultry. All over my lid, I have Divina Midnight Nova, which I haven't seen in a while with my disorganization of my makeup, but I dug it up today, took a while, and I'm happy I did. And then I just lined the outside using another Divina shadow, Night Spell. I still have them together from when I compared them, I guess. And on my inner corner, I have Shine by SD and Glam Smitty Celestial as like a little pink sparkle. I feel like it looks so nice. On my lips, I'm wearing Milani All Natural Lip Liner and this Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Balm, which I was so surprised that I hadn't already worn this month, but apparently I hadn't. I love this balm. I feel like this is like the perfect lip product. I like this. Today is April 21st, and I'm wearing Shine by SD Incandescent all over my lids. And it looks like a diamond. I've been thinking about this since I got and eye swatched it a couple months ago, and today's the first day that I got around to actually wearing it all over my eyes, and it looks so pretty. I paired it with Shine by SD and Glam Smitty Midnight Tryst, which I've been using a lot recently because I love it, but I feel like it looks nice because it also has multicolored sparkle, just a little bit more obvious, so I feel like the inner corner looks slightly more colorful, but also not like so colorful that it takes over the whole look. And on my lips, I'm wearing my Tarte Maracuja lip liner in soft pink and my Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in Pillow Talk medium. I was inspired by the all green look that I did already twice this month to do something similar but in a different color story. I don't like this one quite as much. I pulled out this Norvina Volume 2 palette again, where there's not the same like color gradations like there is with the green, but I used these three colors right here, and the look came out very red. At first, in the center of the halo, I used Luxie Jingle Juice, but it was like way too pink. It wasn't warm enough to go with the way that like the mattes ended up looking. So I topped it all with Divina Frothy Surf, which is like this orangey one here that has like green reflex. And I put that all over the whole lid, including the center that already had Jingle Juice on it. And I feel like it did improve the look, you know? I used Cleona Brilliance for my inner corner, which is kind of like bluish. And I used that because it was the only like true inner corner shade handy. And on my lips, I used this ColourPop Oh Snap liner and this Smashbox Chucky lipstick. Today's April 23rd, and I finally got it together again enough to do my makeup before work. I'm wearing a couple Divina shades on my eyes, Silent Blizzard and Frozen Secrets. And it's very sparkly, almost more sparkly than I would plan to wear to work. On my lips, I'm wearing this Kosas Hot Liner in Infinite, as well as the Kosas Lip Balm in 1000 Degrees. Today's April 24th, and I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I reached into some cooler tones. From the Unearthly Gargoyle palette, I'm using these two mattes, both in the crease and on the lower lash line. They kind of like melded into one thing, but I'm okay with that. All over the lid, I have Celadon from Cleona. I love this shade. I feel like the tone of it is so beautiful. It's also so sparkly. And Brilliance from Cleona went perfectly as my inner corner. On my lips, I'm using this Skin by Kim liner in Nude 10 and the Rhode lip balm in the shade Toast. You see that green and Celadon? Yeah. Yeah, you do. It's still April 24th and I just redid my makeup to go to the movies. And I used shadows out of 3 separate magnetic palettes, which feels like symbolic of me getting my life together. I started with this Depotted Tarte Matte, and then I used Electrum Conjuring on this inner part of the lid. But the big idea I wanted to accomplish with this look was using this shade, which is Calligraphy from Clionadh. When I got their Advent box in December, I guess, I was so surprised by how many people were so excited about this shade, and it made me want to try it, and here I am months later trying it. So I used this on the outer part of this lid. I kind of blended the 2 shades a little bit in between, but it does have a really nice look, and I can't tell what shift is from what exactly. For my lower lash line, I used more of that same Tarte Matte as well as Feathered from ColourPop. And for my inner corner, I finally busted out Soleil's from Divina. If you know, this is like my favorite inner corner shade, and it cracked so much, so many times from me dropping it that I ended up replacing it, but I haven't opened the new one until today, and I love it. I love it so much. It just flows so perfectly with the look. And then on my lips is Milani Spice and Tower 28 Ube Vanilla. It's April 25th. I've been wearing this makeup for a little while, which the glasses marks might give away, but I love this makeup. I'm so enthusiastic about it. I'm just wearing Luxie Everything in the crease, as I do, and Glaminatrix Gala all over the eye, which looks so sparkly and cool-toned and beautiful. I'm really digging it. And the special sauce is Divina Soleil's Now That We're Back Together. I don't want to give her up again. And it just looks so pretty in the inner corner. I love how that looks. On my lips, I have my Kosas Hot Liner in Infinite and this Milani Fruit Fetish Lip Oil in Cocoa. I don't know if I've used this before, but I really like it. It has like a nice, big, fluffy applicator. Really like it. I realized in the beginning of the month, I was telling you about like more details of my makeup, and I've kind of like forgotten about that as time's gone on. I'm wearing my House Labs mascara, which is pretty new, and I'm wearing Rhode Sleepy Girl on my cheeks. Yeah, I love this makeup. I'm so enthusiastic about it. Yeah. Today is April 26th. I wanted to do something that would feel a little bit different, and I thought this silver metallic was kind of a departure from what I normally do, so that's what I went with. I'm wearing Fairy Light from Shine by SD in collaboration with Glam Smitty. I do think the look is different, but I wasn't feeling myself in it as much I was hoping I would be. On my lips, I have the Natasha Denona lip liner in the shade Cala, and also the Amicole lip oil in the shade Excellence. Today is April 27th, and I'm wearing a couple shades from the Light Scatters palette from Clionadh in collaboration with Bad to the Brow. I'm pointing out the couple of shades that I have on my eyes. I love this look. This is so cute. On my lips, I'm wearing a Milani lip liner and also the Tower 28 Juice Bomb, the tinted lip balm in the shade Mix. This look feels so cute and perfect for summer. Today is April 28th, and for my transition color, I'm using from this Melt Creature from the Black Lagoon palette, the neutral color in there. I'm using this Depotted ColourPop Orange for the outsides of the eye as well as the lower lash line. And then Clionadh Scroll is the like coral shimmer on the lid. Oh, I'm seeing a little shift to that. For my inner corner, I went into the Light Scatters palette, and I'm using the little inner corner shade there. And then for my lips is Milani Spice, and this Fenty Glow lip balm. I feel like I can't think of words today. Here's my lip products. Today's April 29th. I'm wearing Luxie Everything in my crease, of course, and Glaminatrix H2O all over my eyes, which is a little bit more sheer than I want it to be, but that shift looks really pretty in there. I used Terramoon's The Cosmos for my lower lash line, which I would normally never do, but I just wanted something like that kind of fit the vibe, that was easily accessible, and that seemed like the best option. And then I have Shine SD Treasure for my inner corner, which really does blend in pretty seamlessly. On my lips is this Natasha Denona lip liner in Cala, and the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in Iced Coffee. I feel like this look's not totally working for me, and I don't know why. Today's April 30th, and I again went into the neutral from this Melt Creature of the Black Lagoon quad. I wanted to recreate that magic from the look I did a couple days ago where I was really enjoying the like cool tone shimmer on my lid, but I didn't just want to use the same one because I have so many that I don't use. So I'm using Shine by SD Glow Up all over my lid, and it does indeed look really pretty, really like wet look. I really like it. I wanted something a little bit more colorful, maybe contrasting on my inner corner, so I'm using Cleona Incandescence, which is this really pretty like corally orange inner corner. And I used Dandelion's Shortcake for my lower lash line. I used Merit Archival as my blush, and I'm realizing right now that I didn't put on highlighter. Just a light dusting of this ColourPop highlighter. And on my lips, I'm just using this Kylie Cosmetics pencil. It's the shade Smile. This is so old, but I have fond memories of liking this light pink on me. Like, somehow it's a light pink that doesn't read too much like little girl on me. And I agree with that assessment that my brain carries about this, because I feel like it's cute. It's a little bit different for me, but it's cute. And April 30th, so that means that today is the last day of April. So my full month of putting on my makeup every day is complete today. I did miss 2 days early in the month. I'm not sure if you noticed. Those were both days that I had work all day and then I had some activity after, and I didn't get home until like 9 or 10 p.m. And it was kind of like, I wasn't going to be like, no, you have to stay up later and, you know, postpone my human responsibilities just to put on makeup. It was easy enough to skip them, but I did put makeup on multiple times a day, several days, so I still think I did more than a month's worth of makeup during this month, so. And it was good. I'm glad I did it. I feel like overall, you know, obviously I missed 2 days, but of the days that I did, there was only a couple days where it felt like a chore, like where it felt like if I wasn't doing this video, I would have preferred to not do my makeup and rush out of the house. But most of the time it felt very natural, and that's what I was hoping I would feel, because in the past, it was just like the activity that I do. No matter what I'm doing the day, it's like part of my day is sitting down at my makeup desk, relaxing, and putting on some makeup. And I feel like I got that feeling back. It's also been interesting getting kind of like reacquainted with my makeup collection, and doing my makeup every day makes me realize how much products I have, especially like single eyeshadows, that I still feel like I've only scratched the surface of using my eyeshadow collection. And I've been talking for a while about wanting to declutter and not really knowing about how to get started in this round of decluttering. But the fact that I've done my makeup pretty much every day this month, and almost every single shadow palette I have, I feel like I've only used like a couple shadows in it. It makes me realize how much extra I have. And I think that is a good push to like finally start this decluttering that I've been talking about doing for like over a year. So yeah, those are all my thoughts. I think that if you're in the same boat, that you feel like you've kind of gotten disconnected from your makeup collection or gotten disconnected from the hobby aspect of putting on makeup, challenge yourself to do it every day, even for a week if that's what you need, because it did help me feel like my head's back in the game, you know? Like I have a concept of my makeup collection now, of what I need to do, and it just feels more like me to be like putting on my makeup, you know? Sometimes you have to push yourself to do the thing that you like doing to remind yourself like, oh yeah, I like doing this. I don't think you'll regret it. And that's it. If you enjoyed this, I hope you will give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Either way, thank you so much for being here. Bye!